Hello and welcome back to NoBS. Today we return to talking about one of the biggest movie franchises of all time, a big international hit that's been reaching out into TV lately and video games too. I'm of course talking about Star Wars. Now, Star Wars was pretty highly revered and very much beloved for many, many years, especially the original trilogy, which started all the way back in the late 70s. 3 movies came out originally and then 3 more came out in the late 90s and early 2000s, and now we're dealing with what some are calling the sequel series, because ever since around 2012, Disney bought the Star Wars franchise and things have been a little mixed, to say the least. First of all, they're releasing more material, more movies are coming out, so things are more likely to go wrong. It's not as holy and it's not as protected a franchise as it once was, but also it's had some hits or misses and also some controversies as well. Basically, being owned by Disney, this big major corporation who loves to get woke and pander to foreign adversaries, well, that means a lot of things in their products have changed. They've had to hire woke actors, make more leads female and minority, done lots of pandering and lots of woke stuff, had feminist characters and all kinds of stuff like that. And today we're talking about yet another controversy, this time about the new Star Wars live action show called The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian came out last year and it was a big hit. Now it's in its 2nd season and people are still really stoked about it. But when that happens, what happens is when people get really excited about a show or they love something or want to watch it, that's when the SJWs come by and start to nitpick and say, hey, what can I use you for? They want to use you for attention and for clout, and they complain about things. And that's essentially what's happening now with The Mandalorian. Since it's so popular, people have had criticisms of it. The actors have come under scrutiny. One actor, the main guy, has become really, really liberal and progressive and shown that he's super woke, while another actor, a side character, this girl, Gina, she's shown to be very, very red-pilled and not woke, and she's kind of been independently thinking, and people are attacking her for that. But that's not what we're exactly talking about today. That's just a little backstory so you know what's been going on. And now we're going to talk about a new story. A new controversy involves a new episode. As you can see by this title, it says Lucasfilm creative art manager Phil S. attempts to justify Baby Yoda eating Frog Lady's eggs. So the controversy is around Baby Yoda eating some eggs. This is a character in the show. For those who don't know, you could see the 3 main characters from the last episode here. Spoiler warnings if you're worried about that kind of thing, but we're not really talking about the details of the plot specifically, aside from naming these characters and telling you how this all went down. And I watched the show, I watched the episode, and essentially, as you can see, Baby Yoda here is eating an egg. It's an egg from this character. This character is like a frog person, and they have all these eggs in this tank here. They're trying to take them back to their husband and make babies and stuff like that. This guy is the bounty, the Mandalorian, obviously the title character. He's kind of in charge of protecting Baby Yoda, and that's the basic setup. He eats a few of the eggs, and a few people are getting triggered by this. It's kind of getting some woke people to ask about it, because yes, technically these are this person's babies, even though the eggs aren't fertilized, so it's not essentially a baby yet. It's like pre-baby. It's not even had the whole process for this, but I think already you could tell, like, I'm talking about Yoda, a force-wielding baby, a walking, talking frog with eggs in a tank, this guy with a helmet on. I mean, it's a bit ridiculous. I think that's the biggest point to start with, is people complain about this. This is a show that's set in outer space. It's a fantasy. It's absolutely not real. It's not even close to being real. This is just a total joke to bring this up seriously and to complain about the eggs. I think we'll see, but the argument is essentially the Baby Yoda is eating babies. Some people even, I saw some crazy posts on Twitter, some people saying this was genocide. I think that was Kevin Smith, the former filmmaker turned podcaster, was saying this is kind of like technically genocide. That might have been a joke or hyperbolic, but you could get the sentiment. The leftists are coming against this. They're getting a little triggered. They're trying to act like they don't know what to think, and it's very much weird. It's silly to be talking about Star Wars this way. You could tell they're just complaining to get attention, and as we go on, it's going to get more insane, and you'll see some other arguments for and against this. Lucasfilm creative art manager Phil attempted to justify Baby Yoda eating Frog Lady's eggs in The Mandalorian Chapter 10, The Passenger. I'm trying to avoid saying this name. Zostack? Okay. Zostack took to Twitter, where he reacted to the official Twitter account for The Mandalorian, sharing a poster of Frog Lady. There's the picture. Frog Lady looks happy. She's got this tank filled with eggs. Nothing to see here. Zostack quote tweeted the poster, writing, "For the record, Chapter 10 of The Mandalorian makes it clear that Frog Lady's eggs are unfertilized like the chicken eggs many of us enjoy. But obviously chickens aren't sentient sentient beings and the child eating the eggs is intentionally disturbing for comedic effect, he added. So he's kind of defending the line, defending the joke, so to speak. I wouldn't even know if it's like a joke officially. I guess you could put it that way. I kind of just saw it as a character moment, and some people might have laughed on it and might have seen cute a few times, but the character actually, Baby Yoda ate a couple of those eggs and he kept going for them, even though the Mandalorian told him not to. And I never really thought of it though as like a whatever genocide of eating babies. It's just eggs. It is just like how we eat chicken eggs or whatever eggs, quail eggs. People eat eggs at restaurants and for lunch and dinner and breakfast and stuff all the time. So having eggs isn't necessarily killing, but if you take it too far, if you're looking to get offended, you can see this is something they might go after. This is something they're seeing as an opportunity. They see an open door here and they might just walk through it. In a subsequent tweet, Zostack said, "Fans of horror know that disturbing things make some of us laugh and some of us squirm, or both. Your mileage may vary." However, the explanation did not satisfy many fans. Twitter user OG Star Wars AB responded, "Yet the mom was passionate and cared about those eggs, her future generation, and was in dire need to get them to her mate, thus saying they mean something. They are real to her and not just a product to carry around." So this is an interesting response from a apparently female Star Wars fan, and then there's more to it. It says, she added, "We are to also believe that the child is a compassionate being whom used the Force to save others with healing and can understand circumstances around it. It understood what those eggs and offspring mean to the mother, whom is racing against the clock to carry on her lineage. Then the child ate a fertilized egg spider. Then it ate a spider later on." So that was another part. This is just funny because it's triggering people, and it's also coming from these SJWs and leftists. And I think the elephant in the room here, the thing that I really don't want to mention directly, I don't know if we can even state it, but these people aren't really that big about babies, if you know what I mean. They act like they're for babies here, but in other cases, they are totally for human beings getting rid of babies, even before they're not really pro-baby. I don't know why they're trying to make this argument for a fantasy TV show when the same kinds of people are for getting rid of human babies in the real world. So that's the kind of thing that throws me off about this whole situation. I'm not really sure where these people stand. Maybe they are some radical anti-baby killing kind of people. I'm not sure, but typically these are the people that are for it. So to see them against it in a alien space adventure movie show seems kind of weird. Twitter user Stephen Wayne Art also stated, "Why would you take a beloved character and have them do something intentionally disturbing? The mother was trying to preserve her family line and the child was the one destroying it. You literally made him the villain in this episode. Who thought that was a good idea?" Now, I think this is a more rational argument. I don't know. I just think I get this one a little bit more. And it also just reminds me of the Baby Yoda character and kind of what's going on with it. It kind of dragged on. It seemed like it might have been something that would appear as a character for 1 or 2 episodes. And then now all of a sudden it's like the main character. It really seems like it got bumped up. And I feel like they're running out of stuff for it to do. They're trying to give it like cute side stories. This one ended up coming off a little strange. I wouldn't necessarily agree it's like fully the villain, but what I get from this Steven character and this response is I could see that angle. I could see someone interpreting it that way, especially if you consider the backstory of Baby Yoda and the healing and the adult-like intellect that the other poster was saying. Now, it doesn't mean I'm like against this. I'm not getting triggered. I think it's a silly show that shouldn't be taken this seriously, but it is an interesting choice from the showrunners. I'm surprised they kind of overlooked this. It seems like they didn't think about the possible controversy, which is fine. I mean, I think, and I want creators to just make their content without worrying about controversies, but typically that's not the way things are done at Disney. Disney is a very strict place trying to appeal to everyone. So this kind of got through the cracks, I think. Ocean Celine wrote, "For the record, the frog lady was very adamant about the fact that her eggs were important to her and that it was her last and only chance to have kids. So it's actually closer to messing with someone's IVF, which would be incredibly upsetting for a wannabe mom. It's not funny." Jay wrote, "Them being unfertilized like a chicken egg makes sense, but there was also a point where they were her last eggs ever and she was afraid to lose any of them. It seems like the child ate half of them, so it was just jarring for sure." So we're getting more into the weeds, more into the argument of whether or not you think this is a strange choice. I think the strangest and funniest part is kind of the SJW backlash backlash, the woke outrage mob coming after this, turning against the show, and that's contained a lot of people that tried to pander to them. Like, remember what I said in the intro, the main actor is super woke. His name's Pedro, and he is so woke. He always panders to them. He's tried his best, but then something like this happens, it's triggering, and it's just kind of like you can't win. You can't win with this type of group because they're always going to nitpick, and it's kind of strange, and it sucks for art because we're talking about art. We're talking about a series that needs some freedom, that needs some free range to have creative ideas, to try something new, to try something different and challenging, and something that might upset people. So the fact that it's disturbing, I think I do see the argument from the creators, like that guy was saying earlier too. Her entire species facing extinction, but it's supposed to be cute. I'll be honest, I found it completely disturbing and not cute at all. Wonder Artsy added her thoughts, writing, only if you see her as an equal to an actual frog, not as a sentient humanoid being. It would be like a toddler eating IVF eggs that failed to be fertilized, just sucking them down out of a test tube. Intentionally disturbing, fine, but comedic effect, no. That's kind of how I felt about it. The way I saw it, actually, if I want to finish with that, the way I saw it when I first watched it, I didn't know about this controversy. I just thought it was Baby Yoda kind of instinctually eating it because it knew it was food, but it was still a baby. Like, I wasn't considering it having an adult intellect, it being like totally aware of all that kinds of stuff. Sure, he's acted that way in some episodes. He's shown compassion and interest, and you could tell he knows what people are talking about sometimes. But in my opinion, he's still a baby. He still doesn't know better. And that's the way I saw it. I think that's the best defense, is that he's just a little baby. He sees an egg and eats it. He knows that's food. It's kind of like how a wild animal might see something in the woods and eat it, like a bear walking around and they'll just grab something and eat a frog or something like that. Like, that's how I saw it. It was instinctual. It was like animalistic. Sure, these Yoda beings grow up and be super smart, and we know how real Yoda was, and he was able to talk and do all kinds of Jedi Force stuff. But this guy's still a baby. He's very young. He might be aging differently than humans, but I think that explains it, and I think that shows that the outrage is unnecessary. That about wraps things up. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you comment your thoughts on everything below. What do you think about Mandalorian, this controversy? Are you watching the show? Did you see the frog eating scene? Was it disturbing or interesting to you? Tell me what you think. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the like button, and until next time, have a great day.